All right, welcome to another fun episode of What Do You Collect? We're here talking with Candy Digital, talking MLB. We're talking with Jonathan Fink, author of some great baseball books. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to be talking all about baseball, all about the collectibles, some fun stories. Here we go. How we doing, fellas? How's everybody tonight? How we doing here, okay?
Right over here.
We're enjoying the MLB season so far, or what? We got a lot of fun so far in the first half of the season, and who knows what's to come the next coming months that take us into the postseason, into October. This is the fun time of the year here. You know, you wind down summer, and then we go headed right into October and see what teams are sticking in there, what teams came out of nowhere. So what are we thinking, guys? What are those teams that are going to just surprise us here, Jonathan? I mean, as far as you watching baseball this year, who do you think's that dark horse that's going to bring us into October?
Well, I'm a Kansas City Royals fan, so last year we were the dark horse. So it could be anyone. I hope it's us again. But actually, I think it's more the favorites this year. I think that the Yankees are looking good, the Dodgers are looking good, and my money's on the Big Cats this time around.
That's all right. So we're going with the Royals. That's it. That stadium there is beautiful. So I always love seeing that in October, getting to see some close matches down there. That'd be fun. That's an exciting young team. You got your Bobby Witt there. We got some good players. Frebo, what do we say? What do we say here this season? Who's our out of the blue surprise?
I'm going to stay with my homer pick as a Phils fan. We're going to invest in a left fielder and actually make a run at this thing.
Nice. You know, your PaulieWizWit over here. You know, talk about the Phillies. You know, them WizWit sandwiches are my favorite, by the way. They surpass all sandwiches. But I mean, you got to go with the Wiz and you got to go with onions. You can't do nothing less.
Between you and me, I go provolone.
No, you go provolone. What is this?
That's why I live out west now.
Listen, you're safe over there ordering one of those, but you go back home and order, your provolone. They're gonna be looking at you sideways. Hey, listen, I'm WizWit, as you all know. Casanova, what do we say? Who's coming out of nowhere here this year with the MLB season?
Yeah, good question. Well, so I'll say first, I'm a Texas Rangers fan. Been an up and down season for them. They're still a little bit under the radar. They bounced back a little bit recently, so we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. But gosh, you know, the Detroit Tigers are definitely killing it so far this year. They kind of came out of nowhere. So they're looking real strong. And also, I got to say, maybe the Seattle Mariners. They give us fits down in Texas all the time. I don't know if it's just us. I've got a lot of course, AL exposure to what I watch, so I'm a little biased. But, you know, one of those three teams, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. They play some good games, and you never know who gets hot at the right time. I mean, Detroit kind of, has that. I think I see with them a little bit more complete. The Mariners, I know they dropped a bunch to the Yankees here, who I'm not that confident on. I don't know. The Yankees this season, I mean, they're piecing it together somehow. They're getting but to get that string of wins is it's tough. I mean, it's when you're going 1-2 against the good teams and not taking the series, it's kind of shows up eventually. But I mean, we'll see. There's a lot more baseball to be had. Continuing on our baseball talks, we're gonna go with Jonathan here, telling us, Jonathan, we got a bright spot here with all the books and all the stories and all the different angles you could take on the game. I know we all love talking baseball, but why don't you tell us a little about one of your latest books coming out?
Sure. Well, to focus on baseball, actually on July 4th, I released volume 2 of my first fictional novel series called The Republic Baseball League. And it's a story about a college professor named Kevin Dempsey who's obsessed with baseball and collecting baseball cards. And he uses sports as a way to communicate with kids about economics and politics and really talking about capitalism and liberty and free markets and those types of themes. And with baseball, the topics that he writes a PhD thesis on basically all that's wrong with Major League Baseball, right? I mean, here we are, the land of the free. We're America with a capitalistic model, but is Major League Baseball really capitalism? Or is it kind of an oligopoly of 30 teams? And then if you think about it, there's sort of like a fascism component because the way that they treat their minor league players, they don't get paid enough, and they're tied to their teams for 6 years, like indentured servitude, right? I mean, Kurt Floyd had to change free agency back in the 70s, but a lot more needs to be changed now. And so what Kevin does is he writes a thesis, and then with his students, he creates using I first simulated this, and then in the story, they use out of the park baseball to create a fictional league where all the kids become team owners and they can recreate the league. And then in the actual simulation, by the end of it, the MLB teams want to join the league because it's a better league, and the fans are all moving to the new league. And then in volume 2, the league becomes real in the storyline. And then eventually Kevin, he basically sells his baseball card collection because it's worth so much money. And he sells, by the way, all of his crypto because he did really well with crypto. And he was able to buy a team. Of course, with the RBL, it's not like Major League Baseball. You don't need a stadium that could hold 40,000. You could have a minor league park that'll be good enough for a team in Wichita or a team in, in Orange County, right? The idea is that, every small town could have a baseball team with this new model because it's leveling the playing field. And so Kevin starts a team and his students become his interns, start working for the team. And then what I actually do is a lot of the athletes, the players that I've come across through my son's career, who I've met just being a baseball dad, a lot of those players have made it through the show. And then I start to incorporate those players in the storyline through the sim. And so in the end, baseball is saved because, the RBL saves baseball. All the things that were wrong with the game get fixed. And, right now, Major League Baseball, popularity is waning, right? Kids, the Savannah Bananas are so popular because apparently we don't have an attention span anymore. We can't watch a 4-hour game, or we're trying to shorten it, whatever. And Kevin has a problem with all that stuff, right? He likes a long game. What's wrong with a 4.5-hour game where you and your kids can enjoy a day together, right? Everyone's now on their TikTok phone, and it's 2-minute flips, 2-second flips. And so Kevin's trying to bring back authentic baseball. And by the way, time out. I really respect the Savannah Bananas, and I actually feature them in volume 2 as an example of following your passion, an example of the American dream and capitalism. You can create anything. And if you love what you do, who would have thought that I'd become an author, right? But the idea is, anything that you love, you put your passion into it and you can create it. And if you live in a free society, the free country, anything can manifest. And so the idea is that with baseball, I still, I don't love, a lot of the new rules, right? But I also know the rules might change. And if the people care enough, the people will dictate how the rules will change. And I'm hoping that my book will have maybe a slight influence on bringing the game back to, I just saw a video my son just sent me. There's now a new Little League for the Savannah Bananas. So all the kids are doing dances and whatever. And if a foul ball, if a dad,
the sport evolves. I mean, it's just kind of like what's going on now with it. Like you said, the new rules. You have the ghost runner, you have the pitch count. Your simulation story, I mean, is kind of has a loose tie to reality here. I mean, I know we're kind of in a new generation too, with fantasy sports have been a big thing. How many youth and older people that have been playing fantasy for the last 20, 30 years that it's been out, have just kind of been used to simulation and has been tied into, say, the digital world. Along with the digital world, we have these candy digital collectibles, which, it just kind of goes all along with how things have been evolving with the game. I mean, it is America's pastime. But, it's interesting just to see what the digital aspects and what these simulations and fantasy games and all this has really pulled a lot of new interest and pulled a lot of new businesses out of it. So,
absolutely,
it's really cool. I mean,
I agree.
Mr. Casanova, would you like to tell us a little bit on the Candy Digital and just kind of what sparked the beginning of that, and how did the baseball aspect and comic collectibles come into play?
Yeah, great question. Actually, maybe I'll kick it to Frebo. Frebo is definitely one of the day one or day two guys at Candy. I joined a little bit later, so. Frebo, I'll let you take that torch, man. Tell them how Candy got started. It's maybe a little bit of a crazier story than I can articulate.
Awesome. Well, we won't get that crazy here, but good deference. So like Aaron is saying, I'm close to a day one or maybe a day 1.5. Had the privilege of working on a really early collectibles. Our Lou Gehrig bust, our Jackie Robinson bust, the 2021 All-Star Icons was my first real motion graphics project there. But to, I think, the point of the question, it feels like a natural extension of a baseball card, that we can take something tangible and introduce it right to a digital community. You can buy, sell, trade online, right? And just kind of offer, again, Jonathan, maybe to the point of, that freedom, that free market, right? Create an alternative to what's going on in the physical space as that, bloats and whittles, and that goes through its own evolutions.
That's true. Yep. It's just really so cool that, once I first saw how, you could see the video highlights almost of the season, some of these milestone moments right off the bat. I was attracted to Candy and what that meant. It's how many years I collected, physical cards, and you see that swing right before, an epic home run. But that's it. It's frozen in time, and that physical card is a memory, and you gotta try to, pull it back and remember exactly how it happened. But with Candy's collectibles, you don't have to. You just watch it. It's there. So you got the whole moment. Some of these great memories through the season, some of these, outfield assists, plays at the plate, game-winning home runs. The whole, video highlight is there. They're limited. The mint on them is just, such a small number, depending on, how rare that actual highlight is. And so I know, Jonathan, you've collected. What are some of the things that?
Well, I collect a few things. I think we all collect something. Whether we collect a lot of it and hoard it or not is a different issue. But as for me, it started with baseball cards, right? I'm a junk wax kid. I was born in '74, so I literally remember in second grade, my school bus was a gambling house. It's very interesting because now there's all this breaking controversy. It's breaking gambling and da-da-da. And is that okay? Well, Mike, when I was in second grade, we were literally gambling every morning on the bus. If you had cards, you go to the back of the bus, and we play this game. I don't remember the name of it. It was basically like war. And we put a card in, and if it was a doubling match, then you won the hand. And I remember sometimes I get totally smoked, and I'd lose all my cards. And then I remember the feeling when you'd win a big hand, you get off the bus, and you'd be like going through, because a lot of cards were common, right? And we were all building sets back then, right? So I remember the feeling when you pulled a Don Malley, a card that you needed for your set, was like the best story ever. And then you're like, all right, I'm not gonna go gamble with that one tomorrow. That one's gonna stay home. That's PC, right? So that's how I got raised. So from literally from second grade, I think through sixth grade, until I went to middle school, gambling sports cards was my favorite hobby, and it's probably the reason why I enjoy going to school. Like, who likes going to school, right? You look forward to gym class, right? And then, but for me, I actually literally I was like, all right, see you later, Mom. I'm going to school because both ways. There was always gambling going on, and so that was a big part of how I was raised. And then, after. I remember I went through a phase when I was a little kid. I was collecting. I was really into Star Wars and collecting that kind of stuff and whatever. But with baseball cards, I was a junk wax kid. Went to high school, gave up the hobby, and the way I got back into collecting was a few years ago because Kevin Dempsey, the main character of my fictional novel, the professor, he basically plays what's called baseball card poker at this card shop downtown, and then he goes to class and he'll show the cards. He'll talk about why I bought this Kurt Flood or this Hank Greenberg card or this Lou Gehrig card, and he weaves baseball history and such into his talks. And so when I wanted to write that book, I was like, I probably should go to some card shows, go to some card shops, kind of get the feel of the character and kind of channel the character to write the book. And that's when I got back into the hobby. And what's interesting is that when I got back into the hobby had totally changed. For me, when I was a kid, it was all about collecting and building sets. And as I started to, follow the YouTubers and go to the card shops, I started realizing what parallels and numbered cards and 101s, this was all new to me. On card, auto, hobby box versus retail blaster. I literally was like a caveman coming out of in the movie Caveman when Brendan Fraser's coming out, he's seeing the new world. And so I was really enamored by that because my day job is I'm a financial advisor. I invest for a living, right? So I've always had that collector kid in me, but now this hobby is all about making money. That's something I can really vibe with because I was looking at all these apps and Sports Card Investor and Card Ladder, and they're showing bar charts like the '86 Flair Jordan, like it's the NVIDIA stock, right? Yeah. So that's when I really got back into the hobby, and then I realized, there's a book to be written here, and that's when I wrote Sports Card Collector Club.
That's awesome.
December 1st, and I've actually written the sequel as well. And even though this book is actually an investment book, so I took my 25-year career as an investment advisor and said, all right, well, how do I apply that? How do I take my MBA, from UMKC and apply it to sports cards? And so in the book, I literally say, well, how would a day trader trade cards? How would a hedge fund do it? How would a private equity guy do it? Some of them work, some of them don't work, and I share all the experiences. But at the end of the day, the book is called The Collector's Club, not the Investors Club, because the truth is, when it was all said and done, you win money, you lose money, but I really wanted to become a collector in the end. I no longer wanted just to flip cards, make money. I wanted to get back to the joy that I felt as a kid. So literally, right now, I'm collecting the 1986 Flair set, card by card. Started with one card, like Tree Rollins, at a card show, and then it's Isaiah Thomas, and I'm old school collecting again. And so that's what was my vehicle back into the hobby. But now, as you know, Paulie, I'm now into a whole new way of collecting, because when I was a kid, I never considered investing in anything but sports cards. And in this book, I lose a lot of money going big on certain players who get injured. Okay.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
Gary V, he's really big on V-Friends and all these non-sports cards. And by the way, all this digital stuff will apply. And I hope that you guys, I know you're mostly sports now, but there's a huge opportunity with these non-sports cards, because all these V-Friend characters, right? All these Pokemon characters, they all can be digitized, put on a blockchain, buy them with Ethereum, the same idea. But the Daring Dragonfly never pulls a hamstring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Casanova, you want to enlighten us a little bit? I know we have, obviously, with Candy, so many things. I mean, there's the MLB, there's comics. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the variety with Candy? Because as we know, it's not just baseball.
Totally. Yeah, no. And Jonathan, you touched on it, like, just being able to be a collector, get closer to these players that you're fans of. That's kind of the Candy story. I think from our side, we deal with two big main IPs, one being MLB baseball, two being DC Comics. And so our goal is to, in a digital way, bring you closer to being a fan. And of course, obviously collecting digital items is kind of our go-to thing, right? So obviously, like Frebo mentioned, we've got, the digital version of a baseball card, we call an icon. And then we've got the digital version of a highlight, we call a gem. And Paulie, you mentioned that, being able to, you watch the game or you go to a game, you see that amazing play and you're like, oh my God, that's awesome. You tell your friends, you tell your family. Imagine being able to also then buy that play in our marketplace and just kind of solidify it forever, show your kids, show whatever. And that's just kind of a moment that you can just relive over and over. And so that's kind of, just two easy examples we do on the MLB side.
My question for both of you Aarons is, when I've talked with hobby guys about digital, one of the things that people like is, I'm a tourist, I like the whole thing, right? And so the idea of like just being able to enjoy a video and image just on your phone or just on your watch seemed limited to me. And literally it was yesterday with Paulie during our pre-show, checking out the technology, and he was showing me how he's turned his digital images into physical cards. Maybe you could talk to me and to the audience about that, because to me, that's the bridge that will connect, the people who are not tech savvy, right? The older guys who still want the tangible things, but yet this is a way where you could have a digital asset that could, by the way, is backed by cryptocurrency, which is going up in value, and there's all the reasons why it makes a lot of sense. But you also can make it authentic and tangible and real, like Paulie's got in his office. So how would I buy an image of Cags' first home run, and then how would I get it on a card so I can keep it in my office? You mentioned Phil Rizzuto is in your portfolio, right? Of these digital things.
Yep, I know some of the older players. I was telling them about. There's Phil Rizzuto. You got just a lot of the older players that you can collect again, and then you could go back in time. It's just great.
Back to the question: how do you turn a digital asset into one of those cards? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good question. So, I mean, as you kind of see right behind Paulie, we do have some partners that provide the ability to put these cards on a physical, object that then, plays the video, plays it back. So that's definitely an option. I've seen you kind of do road shows where you're kind of showing people those things, which is super cool. I think, I will say though, like from that perspective, there probably is a little bit more of there's an opportunity there, right? I think we've had a partner we've used in the past. I think there might be an opportunity for some more partners to bring more physical products to the space. Like I will say, Candy doesn't specialize in physical side of things. We're definitely very digital. We do at times get physical items, sign baseballs, sign different things that we'll send out to collectors and things like that. But there's definitely an opportunity to do that. And like I said, we've integrated with a partner already. We'd probably love to integrate with more. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's no reason why, these items, they can't, however you want them, you should be able to display them as long as you have electricity and power, right? And so, I think mobile phones, everybody's got a mobile phone these days. They're as advanced as hell. And so, that right off the bat, being able to show your card collection, your comic collection to your friend just out of your pocket versus like, having to haul it around and worry about losing it or messing it up. Obviously there's advantages there, but yeah,
there really is an irony in that tactility. I'd never quite thought about it that way, right? That like the likelihood that you get use out of a digital object, whereas
all right, talk about irony. I have another question for you guys. obviously you don't need a physical space to share and to buy and trade because you're doing it all through your network, right? But there's a community that's being formed, right? So it's just not physical. But has there been or will there be opportunities for Candy to create their own version of Fanatics Fest where all the people who own these digital assets can get together and share, and have dealers do tricks?
I can tell you personally.
Yeah, Paulie's taking us to Vegas.
Yeah, listen, that's true. I got a bunch of comp rooms. I gambled at every casino on the strip. I'm sure I could get a room for each of you. As I can say, like, I've been to several events with Candy that you guys sponsored. Just a World Series watch party.
All right, so you're already doing it.
Game. So I mean, I'm sure they could elaborate and go into it, but it's already been out there, and that's some of the great parts of the community here. Chatting on the Discord, talking to some collectors, and then meeting them in person. So if you guys want to take it away to go a little further.
Yeah, and certainly, community is sort of that pillar of Web3, Web 2.5, whatever you want to refer to it as. And in the past, we have done partnerships with different athletes where we've done meet and greets, right? And that has been a utility. We've worked through our packs, worked through our product offering. That said, Jonathan, there's definitely desire to do more of that in the future as we start to, build that base. And that is primarily, I think, what we're doing right now is trying to establish our product, establish that user base, and then bring everyone together.
No, it's been great because I know some of those aspects where it's just like you get to come together and see everybody in person, chance to meet players, and some of the giveaways that come along with collecting, where it's really cool because sometimes you don't get those opportunities. As you guys want to talk a little bit about, what's going on this season. You have the Sparks, you have challenges, all the different things that you can just, when you make your collection, it's not just sitting there in your account. Same like a physical collection. You're putting them in a shoebox, you're putting them in a book, and that's pretty much it. But you guys want to tell us a little bit about this season, all like the fun and the aspects that come along and what you could actually do with your collection.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll take it away. Yeah, so like I said, we want to bring fans closer to just the game and the experience, right? And so, for example, with our gyms collection, which is just the highlight product that we have, we put out a monthly gyms drop. Frebo and his creative team do a great job of kind of pulling the best plays of the month, chopping them up, condensing them down to kind of the best parts, the best angles. So hats off to Frebo and his team for kind of putting a lot of that stuff together. But not only do we want you to be able to collect highlights of your favorite players, we also want to bring a little bit of a gamification mode to the table. So we have different ways to, once you open up our packs, of course, you can get a collection of, 5 different gyms in one pack. We also insert extra things just to kind of spice things up. So like one thing we insert, for example, is called a Candy Spark card. And so, it's kind of a play of like spark your fandom. And so if you get the Spark card is kind of like a wild card, a joker, or an upgrade type card. So within our website, we also have a challenges section. And so, very frequently, usually we have at least one challenge running, also, probably multiple challenges. But you can go take these gems to that challenge page. And if you get a particular rare level gem that you like for me, Adolis Garcia hitting a grand slam or something like that, like, boom, that's a awesome play. I want to solidify that one forever. You can enter that rare gem into the challenge page, plus use that Candy Spark card, and that'll upgrade it to what we call an epic gem. And so epic gems, that will decrease the supply. So there'll be a quarter less of those available. So it makes it scarce. Also, Frebo and his team, they upgrade the skin. They give it an awesome thumbnail. They put the signature on the image. And then just kind of give it a little bit better look and feel for the highlights. So it's kind of one of those things where like you pull your awesome play, take that awesome play that you love and like just upgrade it, make it look super cool so that, at the end of the day, it's a view of the play, but like we're putting this awesome spin on it that it's just like you want to show it off. And I think that's kind of our goal at the end of the day. Give you items that you want to show off, but give you some gamification that kind of gets you engaged, gets you have some fun, and just do different things. So
does the user have the ability to ramp up the card to the point where you're reducing the population to a 101? Can you actually go all the way where there's really only one image available of this asset, or that's too extreme?
I don't know if we got whittled down that much because it's
about 101. So I'm a little one obsessed right now.
That's a good idea. Hey,
it's possible.
That's a good idea.
We'll get there, right? A 1 of 15. But yes, Jonathan, that is the idea that right, as capacity is limited. And to circle back, that's how you would get that Jack highlight right in our June Gems drop, right? He's a home run that month. You would go in, you could either buy that on our secondary, you can buy and rip packs, right, at your chance, whether an uncommon or a rare. We do have a different, rarity tiers that are established within the Candy ecosystem. So for instance, our highlight product, we have 3 rarity tiers, our icons have 5. And like Aaron said, we've started to introduce variants and things of that nature to kind of spice up the packs. We introduced rainbows this season and what have you. And then maybe even take a step further back around community is you can go on the Discord and nominate plays that you want to see in that month's drop. That's a good way to kind of get eyeballs on them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want feedback. We want, we ultimately want to give a product out that the community wants and enjoys. And I think there's no better way to then open up a nomination, a feedback loop. There's so many plays that happen every month, and there's just no way that we can absolutely catch every single one. And we love debate, and so we're opening up a nomination channel, and let the fans vote on what their favorite plays are. Well, so let's make sure we have them in the packs.
You're tapping into a topic that I mentioned in my second book, which is the idea of co-creation, right? And all corporations do it, but humanity does it too. And one of the ideas in this book, and as we get towards volume 3, what if an entire baseball team was run by the fans? Meaning, what if real baseball became like fantasy sports? You have a blockchain. And if we're all fans of the Cleveland Indians and we have a game tonight, we're picking the starting rotation, right? We're picking the lineup. Oh, lefty match, and everyone's voting, and the manager basically does nothing because the lineup will be determined by the fans. When it's time to cut somebody, enough fans wanted this guy to get cut and sit down to AAA. So the idea is that eventually Dempsey's in volume. So Dempsey embraces this, and by volume 3, he's got a coup d'état, and the fans kind of take over the team, and do things that he doesn't like. But that's what happens when you have the age of Aquarius, and you have humanity, and we're all making decisions, and we can go different directions with how we want the future to be, whether it's a team or the league. But in your example, your community is helping co-create these cards. You're deciding which cards they created. They are using their currency to reduce the supply and make them more unique and giving them more characteristics. And so when you have your essentially your customers, right, community, your customers, creating the products with you, they're going to have an emotional attachment. And how do you I remember in business school, they always talked about, Walmart had this, lifetime value of a customer model. How do we measure, well, how do you get a customer for life? How do you create something that is so sticky that your community, your customers, why do people still love Pokemon? I was at Target of the day. People were lined up out the store. I'm like, what is going on? It was Pokemon delivery day, and the snipers were out. But here we are 20 years later, and people love Pokemon so much, and they don't create anything. What you guys are doing is you are empowering your user base to co-create with you, and that's the future, man. That's very unique. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of companies who have products or services can be enabled to be co-created by their customer base, and you're doing that. And so your customers, the more they love it, the feeling that someone gets when they recommend a video, especially if it's a random quirky thing, right? And then it gets tokenized, and then they own it, I could see how the same dopamine hit you would get from ripping a pack and pulling out a cool card. This is another level of that. This is
Yeah.
This is
I've been a collector obviously since the first Uncut Gems pack that came out with Candy. So I just really enjoyed the whole, process over the years, just seeing how often that they come up with something new. And you're right, as it does a lot of times come from community suggestion, as you have that investment from the community that is really tied to the product, and they love certain things. They don't, they might not like others, but just to see how great some of these rewarding challenges that they still produce, where it says okay, you could use your old cards from 2024 and introduce them to get you some points, and you could get some challenges through that, so it doesn't just totally forget your old collection. Because as you keep building through the years, how many times do you go back a couple years and you say, oh, okay, remember this this collectible that I have, this moment in baseball history, and now you decide whether you want to keep it or do you want to burn it. You could just basically send it in and get some sort of reward for it. So that's some of the awesome things that I really liked with Candy, that over the years you've just kind of evolved that, and I think a lot of it has come from the community and come from your team and working together doing that. I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more, just kind of how you guys see that with all the collectibles that you have in your collection.
Totally. Yeah. And like maybe the last thing you said there, a lot of the ideas come from the community. Like that's very true. Like I think, the team, Frebo and I, plus, definitely the other chunk of people behind the scenes, we're always ideating, whiteboarding, trying to find different ways to create gamification, engagement, fun, fandom, all the things, right? But honestly, like a lot of ideas will come from the community and we'll be like, what do we think about that? What do we think about that? Ooh, is that possible? Obviously, some of them are just kind of off the wall and just never going to happen. But like, gosh, you sift through the feedback, there's a lot of good gems that the community suggests. And so burning is definitely one that had been requested on quite a bit. We've done a little bit in the past, but this year we really ramped it up. We really wanted to lead into the customer feedback on that. Like you just touched on, Paulie, the ability, if you have you ripped a bunch of highlight packs back in 2022, 2023, you got the players you wanted, but you got, a chunk of players that are like, he's like you said, you're a Yankees fan. You got a bunch of Red Sox highlights or something, right? You just hate those.
That's it.
We have light them up. We have the ability to, we run these things at least once a month, sometimes more. We're going to try and do more, where you can take those old highlights to our, basically our burn machine and just burn them, get rid of them. And then in return, we'll give you different rewards like a spark card or a new pack or a discount off a future drop. And so it kind of gives you the ability. It's kind of like a trade-in, right? Like you collect these things, they can still have value in the future. We want to make sure things, they're collecting digital dust, but like, you never know. We're going to try and bring in that gamification and just keep listening to the community, evolving on the feedback. So,
hey, who knows? Maybe Jonathan's back of the bus gambling game he used to play could be turned into a digital version. I don't know. Maybe there's something one day, Jonathan. You should throw it in the Discord. I mean, it got you hooked. Imagine if that happened digitally.
I've been aware of, NFTs and all that stuff, but I haven't done it because you got to get a wallet and you got to get a network, and then you see all the guys who get hacked and whatever. But with you guys, your assets are all on an Ethereum-based blockchain, but I'm just going to use a credit card and pay in dollars, right? So if you talk to me about the back office technology that's facilitating this and how is that maybe different than other baseball assets you could buy on a different exchange somewhere else? Like what you guys seem to do is very streamlined and it's easy, and I wasn't even aware how easy it could be.
There you go. So it sounds like you've gone through it, which is perfect. Like that would be my challenge, is like, if you haven't tried it out, try it, because literally go to our website, use an email address to create an account, and then you can go buy your first, highlight or icon card within seconds just by using your credit card. And so absolutely, like I've been playing in Web3 for the past like 4 or 5 years now. And I get it. I've had the MetaMask wallet with the Ethereum tokens or USDC and convert and transfer over the bridge and all these things. You don't have to worry about that on our platform. Just email address, you put a credit card on file, and you can go to town. And that's the goal. We want to make it easy. Also, there's when you create this account, you more or less you get a wallet added to your account as well. Right. So, but it's also custody in a way that like, there's not going to be a hack. You're not going to lose things. Obviously, the only hack that could happen is if you lose your own personal password, which, that can happen on your own. But in a sense, like there's not going to be this, like, you do a digital signature and like, oh gosh, I just gave access to everything. That doesn't happen on our platform. We keep it very straightforward. And so as Frebo mentioned, we're very Web 2.5, and that's kind of what we mean, right? So like it's the Web 2 experience, email address, credit card, but in the back end, it's also a Web 3 type integration where once you purchase things, they are on chain. So you can go on chain, it's tokenized, you know exactly the supply of everything, what's there. And then once it's minted. Like it's not going to go anywhere. And so those are, a lot of things that we integrate. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so naive question here. Is Ethereum different from Bitcoin in the sense that even though people like on CNBC will refer to Ethereum as a cryptocurrency, it's actually a contract, right? A blockchain contract. So therefore, the point is like, with the value of these cards underlying, like when assets are priced in dollars, like you buy real estate or I buy a car in dollars, and then the euro goes up versus the dollar, the inherent value of what you own in dollars goes up and down based on what's happening in global currency markets. And Ethereum's doing really well right now. All crypto is. So are investors in these digital assets going to benefit by the underinherent value of Ethereum's price going up? Is it going to have a positive impact on the value of this whole portfolio of digital assets? Or is it more like a contract? And so no, the price of these cards will go up and down based on the buy and sell orders, not based on the underlying value of the currency. That's my question.
Yeah. Frebo, it looks like you wanted to go. Go for it.
I want to talk, but I'm curious what your answer is. I would say the latter. I describe us as crypto adjacent. So really the community is what sets the floors and the ceilings for product. Right. And that all comes through in the different, each product is bespoke to itself, whether it be an icon line, say for instance, like a rookies or showstoppers or Hall of Fame versus like a gems, right? Again, the community sets all those floors, those ceilings, and people tend to abide by those. Again, don't need Ethereum, you don't need crypto, but we do have a blockchain. We do have some tech that is very advanced and can become very complicated to run. But Aaron, I'm curious what your take there would be.
Yeah, maybe to circle back to like the beginning question of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, right? So they're both cryptocurrencies on two different types of blockchains, right? And Ethereum is a blockchain that has the ability to do smart contracts, but I wouldn't say Ethereum itself is a contract, right? So
I got it.
It is an open network where people can create contracts and do different things, and everything that every collection we technically deploy is a smart contract. And so in a sense, it's like, hey, here's our monthly gems drop. That's a contract that has, 40 different plays and an X supply per play. And like, that's baked into the contract. And once we deploy that, it's like locked. And so like, that's kind of the benefit of the smart contracts on chain. And so we adhere to that.
Imagine real estate can be done this way soon.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think there's absolutely a use case for that. And I mean, gosh, if you
the DMV
follow
records would be great.
Everything can be tokenized and put on the blockchain. Here, how ironic that it's baseball cards. That was one of the first things to be like the vanguard of this new digital wave. It's just so fun. Maybe it's because we're all geeks, right? I mean, that's
But now, just a question: with the current status of the purchasing options that people have to buy on Candy, is it just credit card? Is there any other kind of link, or what exactly are the?
Could you buy with Bitcoin?
Not yet. And I don't really see a future where you're buying with Bitcoin technically, right? But I will say, so credit card is the main way. Of course, if you do buy, sell, and then you end up kind of positive on something, we'll let you have positive balances on platform too, so you can just kind of reuse that. And then of course we allow withdrawals and things like that. So that's how it is today. And when you buy with a credit card, technically what's happening behind the scenes is we are then gauging like the main token value of the base platform. And technically the platform that we're on today is called Palm Network, Palm platform. And so that uses the native Palm token. And not to get all confusing, but it's just the base token. It's a side chain of Ethereum. But when you make a purchase, use the credit card. We have mechanisms behind the scenes that then US dollar value, you purchase something for $5. So how much is $5 worth of Palm token? Okay, make the conversion, boom. And then like your transaction works. And so there's just a lot of that kind of stuff behind the scenes, just converting US dollars to the local currency that happens behind the scenes, but we abstract it in a way that you don't have to worry about it. And so,
right.
To your point of like, if Ethereum goes up in value, do these assets go up in value? Like, it's really hard to say because, again, at the end of the day, everything's just US dollars on our platform. And as Frebo mentioned, the value is just based on, the collectors collecting. Are they holding them? Are they selling them? And then, again, kind of our part of our goals here are just to kind of give you collectibles that you want to hold. Like, we don't want you to just buy a bunch of stuff and be like, I hate it, and just sell it, right? We want to create the ability, you get collectibles you want. There's also challenges where you can burn collectibles you don't want. There's collection challenges, like you said, create full sets of different things. Like, that's more reason to kind of buy and hold things, create a full set, get a reward for that, different things. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that's some of the fun stuff that I saw with Candy. I mean, you have like you're bringing back a lot of the love for the sets, because honestly, with a lot of physical stuff today, no one really goes for sets. You know what I mean? I mean, it's very rare that you see a kid really chasing maybe more than just a base or a common or a cheap set. But, it's really cool that with the digital collectibles, it's just like you have a reason to, because a lot of times there's a chaser card. it's something that all of us, it could be a set of 9, but that 10th card is going to be a reward given to you once you have all 9 or whatever's needed for that particular challenge. And as you guys want to just elaborate a little bit on some of the great chasers you guys have had over the years, where now it's all of a sudden, okay, I want that set because, for example, there's a Ken Griffey, a great Ken Griffey highlight that comes along with that. I mean, that's just some of the fun that, comes into the value of collecting a whole set.
My mind kind of immediately goes back to how the community has shaped our product over the course of 4 or 5 years. I've largely learned, and this is Jonathan to kind of speak to what you're saying, like, I think I'm an old soul of a collector. I don't flip things. I buy things because I like them, and then I hold on to them. So that's kind of always how I've approached our product. What I've learned over time is to get out of the way. My skill set, I'm a motion designer, graphic design and animation for 20 plus years in a client-based industry. So Jonathan, again, interesting choice of language to say now we have customers, right? And they've influenced, right, a lot of design decisions, a lot of personality traits that go into the card. So this is all to say, from a chaser perspective, the biggest challenge with creating any set is what content feeds into it. So for instance, you would have a set like in 2022, we did a Hall of Fame set that was really cool. You could click, dive in, and interact with, footage and image, and kind of takes you on a curated journey through their career. We soon learned, right, the technology on phones doesn't really support that. That kind of became a difficult lift. So, okay, we're going to then try some different tech in a different sort of collection. So there's a long-winded way of saying, as we've gotten to 2025, what I think I am most, what I'm proudest of over our collectibles is the simplicity, the efficiency, and the intent of what they've all wanted to do. We've had about 4 or 5 sets this season. Each has represented a different persona of a player, right? Something abstract, but has given us, really distinct product lines as we've gone across. So I don't know if that fully answers the question in terms of chasers, but when it comes down to sort of content, like what players go into a rookie's drop, what content can we leverage in a starting 9 drop? That was the first drop of the year, right? Are we displaying the players, or is this more about their stats, their information, their numbers? We've experimented with that a lot over the past 4 or 5 seasons, and continue to kind of hone in on.
And how about a little what's coming for the final, couple months of the season? Just some highlights of what's to come for the future with the MLB, with the DC Comics for the rest of the year.
Well, from an MLB perspective, and then Aaron, I guess you can take DC. So we do a monthly gems drop. That's our highlight, right? So it is currently July. We'll see those highlights launch in another 15 some odd days, and then we'll keep that cadence for the rest of the season. We have some icons drops lined up, some special events also that we'll do a couple bespoke drops around. But yeah, Aaron, what does DC have in store? Again, we'll have monthly gems drops for highlights, so you make sure you don't miss any of your highlights. We typically do tent pole drops around all-star icons, Hall of Fame type stuff as well. We don't want to give away too much stuff because we don't want to announce it before it's ready. But these are just kind of things that we've historically done: all-star icons, Hall of Fame icons, and gems. And then we're going to try and mix in. I think you saw at the beginning of the year, we did Tokyo Series icons. It was a very just kind of small, limited drop. I think they were like $5 a pack or something like that. I just had some fun. We're going to try and do a couple more bespoke small deployments where pay $5, you rip packs, you have fun. You might be able to get some kind of rare chasers out of that. Just kind of bring some kind of not so super expensive, but very engaging type experiences on platform. And so continue to do that. And of course, I'm always game for more burn challenges, collection challenges. Like I'm always, listening to the community in Discord. If you've got a harebrained collection or burn challenge you want to do, let me know. We'll think about it. I'm game to make as many happen as possible. So always looking to do those things. Hopefully you kind of see the theme. Gamification, exclusive content, exclusive products. Again, and like what we can't forget is these things are licensed by MLB. We have the rights to do, licensed highlights and really, licensed icons in the way that we do them. Nobody else can really release them in the content that we do. And so that's just really kind of a value add and something I think
sometimes is taken for granted. But like, you know, at the end of the day, let's just say like candy disappears one day, God forbid, right? You still have licensed MLB collectibles in your wallet that are not going anywhere. And like, I mean, is MLB going to go away? I hope not, right? I mean, I know, Jonathan, you have some very cool fictional book ideas, but we hope that stays, right?
That's great.
So there you go. At the end of the day, you've got some licensed collectibles that are
definitely, there's so much fun down the road here, guys. And Jonathan, just to close out, want to tell us a little bit about what you have coming out?
Yeah, I guess I would self-promote 3 things. First is RBL Volume 2, which is now available everywhere, ebook and paperback and hardback. And then October 1st, I have a new fictional novel series about Beck Jordan. He's a college football player, and I wrote a story called Spirits of the Gridiron. This is Volume 1. I haven't written Volume 2 yet, but I plan on writing it this fall. So this should hopefully be a really another exciting series. And then, of course, what got me on this show, Sports Card Collectors Club Volume 1 comes out December 1st. It's now on pre-sale. And I've already written Volume 2. I'm editing it right now, called The Flip Life. And going to the National in a few weeks. And that could hopefully launch Book 3 called The Card Life. We'll see what happens. But great to be on the show, guys, and great to meet you all.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I already ordered my book. I already got my pre-sale there. Who knows? Maybe one day we got the digital chapter that comes in. You never know.
Guys, we'll talk.
Yep. All right.
You know where to find us. You know, Jonathan, you mentioned at the beginning of the show, I got to ask if you could change one thing about the game, one thing about the sport.
Yeah, I would make Major League Baseball like European soccer and have a promotion and relegation system.
Relegation league. Love it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Later, White Sox.
Yep, that's it. The one with the worst record.
Rules the day.
Yep.
Or maybe we combine the ideas. Maybe the one with the worst record gets to be coached by the fans the next season, right? They vote on it every game. Everybody from their couch gets to elect the lineup, and when the pitcher gets yanked out. I mean, you can't do any worse than last place, right? That's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it today. Follow everybody here on their social media. Order some books. Check out Candy Digital. Appreciate it. What do you collect, guys? Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.